You on point,
You did that too.
brother.
I didn't even say
No, you good, brother. Oh,
Oh, man.
the fucking mass confusion. We got to go. Listen, I'm loving it. Let's go hard, brother. Oh,
As always, I appreciate you, brother. Now, I think someone is calling on a march on Washington. I can't remember who it was. The same later on this year, whenever Dr. King had his march on Washington, it's the same day. I just don't know who. I can't remember who it was, but someone is calling on a march for like 1 million people. Anyway, that's a sidebar. Here's the thing. Again, I'm still steadfast on this word confusion because what we're not comprehending, what we refuse to comprehend, is racism is all about a system. The cops are never going to stop doing what they've always done because they are conditioned in this system. The system has told them to do this, get away with it. You can take a Caucasian cop who grew up around nothing but brothers, put him on the force, and it will unconsciously get him to start thinking a similar way, unbeknownst to him. It's not even his fault because it's the system that they are in. It's the world that we live in North America. You know, we have to understand this. It's not personal. Some of them, I quite frankly, I'm going to tell you, have no idea what they're doing. What we have to stop doing again is keep relying on them to do things for us. It's not going to stop. Oh, the school system stinks. It's going to stink because it's under that white supremacist system. It's not designed for us to advance our young people. Once we understand that, I get it. Prayerfully, many other people will start to understand and say, okay, there's two things. Either A, we need to start our own schools, which is with charter schools, you can do that, or do some independent teaching. You can still send your kids to the public school, but if the only teaching they're getting is from that white supremacist school, you're setting them up to fail. You're setting them up to fail. So if you are a single mom and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 kids and you're working so full and so on, you might not say, well, I can't, send them to a charter school. It may not be a charter school in my area. That's fine. That's fine. You do what you're able to do, but you gotta come home and especially with the internet, I need every month a report, just a paragraph, nothing too strenuous, on some African-American inventor throughout history. Teach me something. We got to get our kids to start looking, thinking, and moving. I'm going to use this word even though I don't support it. Black. That's what we got to start doing. We have to find out what our culture is. We have to start enveloping them around things that they've never been experienced to understand how we were kings and queens at one time in this continent that it was so rich that they're really plundering now. They brought us over here, and that we've invented so many things in this country, we're responsible for so many things in this country, which these things are not going to be taught in the school system. That's the step. But again, it starts with, we got to start unifying as a people, man and woman first and foremost. We got to start backbiting each other out. Okay, if a relationship didn't work, it didn't work. Okay, if the person wasn't the greatest person, he wasn't the greatest person. But what we got to stop doing, we got to stop airing our business out. When I was growing up, one thing that the elders did, parents did, is that if older people were having a conversation, you couldn't even be in the room. They like grown folks conversation, grown folks business. And what they also did, they wouldn't speak negatively about anything because they understood that permeates these young minds, and it has such a strong grasp on young mind, it's really hard for them to get out of it. So if the relationship didn't go well with the child's dad, keep it to yourself. Talk between you and your girlfriends when the child cannot hear you.
Right.
Because what you don't want to skew any image that a young person will have. So now, when they go over to dad's house every weekend or every other weekend, they kind of have a little angst with them because they've heard these stories over and over again and how he mistreated you. He may have mistreated you, but you still don't want to influence that child because it's so hard. Once they get it in them, that disrespect is hard to get out of them. You know, these are the things that the basic things we have to start doing. This is where the confusion comes in. It we got to stop looking again for other ethnicity to come save us, to be our savior, and start taking a personal interest in our own lives and take control. That's what so-called though, well, black people. That's what we don't have. We have no control when we can have it. All we have to do is focus on it, advocate it, and make it happen. We have no control over our finances. We have no control over our relationships. We have no control over our school system. We have no control over police to deal with. Well, we can have control over all that. When we start learning how to save money, we start building our own businesses. When we start investing in our own businesses, if you don't have the time or the intellect to develop a business, then you get with other people and network. And you put together your little pool of money and you invest in that business. So now you become a business owner and you're still working for some other individual. Now you got two incomes coming in. If the school system doesn't have enough educational curriculum that's advancing our kids, which it isn't, then we have to independently start teaching them. You know, get them to have tutors or so forth and so on. Get your own family, so forth. We have to start really coming together as an ethnicity and start doing these things on our own. This is where we're dropping the ball. This is where the confusion is. Okay, yeah, we're marching, so but that's not going to change anything when we have to change it ourselves. We need to start developing the power, and the only way we get the power, we got to have control. And that's what we got to start over everything. We have to look within ourselves and say, okay, enough is enough. Yeah, I'm seeing all the point is enough of us getting killed. Of course, we already know that. But is enough of me raising 3, 4, 5 kids by myself? Is enough me not saying, I need to start protecting myself and get on protection because I don't want to raise another child in here without a dad? Is enough to say, well, I need to start taking care of my health better so that I don't get cancer, don't get diabetes, and so forth and so on, so that I can be here and see my grandkids and great grandkids instead of us dying at 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60 years old from numerous things. Is enough of us saying, okay, you know what? They are not treating us right as a police. So guess what we're going to start doing? We're going to come together for our own protection forces so that if they do something against us, guess what? They know that there's going to be accountability for your action. Is enough. That's where we need to start saying is enough in our own ethnicity and start unifying, put aside our differences and saying, you know what? All this stuff that we've been doing up until this moment is not helping us. We need to come together collectively as a people, like any other ethnicity does, and say, you know what? Let the Caucasian people do what they do, but us as so-called African Americans need to come together and say this is enough and get together ourselves and say we're going to start taking control over our everything in our ethnicity. We're not looking for someone else to do it.